So we're going to start from the very beginning, from the time that you receive the package all the way through assembly. So the first thing is you receive your welding boots. You want to make sure that there is no damage. Before you sign the delivery receipt from the carrier, make sure there's no damage to the weld boots. There's a few different ways you can do this. One is just looking directly at the packaging. You can see through the shrink wrap to the weld boots and just look for any obvious damage. If you see anything that you think might be damaged, tell the carrier to report it. The next thing is you circle around, you'll notice that the metal panels are on both ends of this pallet. These are bolted not only to the weld boots, but also to the pallet. You should be able to obviously see whether there's any crinkles or dents or anything like that in the metal. Again, if there is, report it to the carrier. Okay, so we've got everything unpackaged from the pallet. The next thing we want to do is organize all of our parts. Before you start assembly, do this and compare it to what you have in the IOM, your instruction manual, to ensure you've got all the parts before assembly. The last thing you want is to get right in the middle of your install and not have the parts that you need. So we have our back panels. These are easily distinguishable because they have the IAP products in the top right corner. All the other panels are going to be your side panels. And of course, in some of these configurations, they're going to share side panels between each booth. And then next, you've got your curtain rods. These will be the very last thing you guys put up. And then over here on the floor, we've got our shelving. This will be the table that sort of suspends in the air, bolted to the boots. And then here on the floor, we've got our leveling legs and our hardware for putting the boots together. Okay, so we're going to start with the single booth setup. The easiest way to do this is to start with your back panel on the floor, preferably on top of wooden blocks or something to keep it elevated. The next thing is you're going to either choose your right or left panel, and we're going to go ahead and get that installed. Now that we've got the right panel installed and bolted in, the booth should hold itself fairly well, and you can move on to putting in the table. As you can see, the table already has pre-drilled holes to show you as you set this in where you need to be putting your bolts. These are just installed with self-tapping screws. They're very strong, but that's going to be the next step, is getting the table in and bolted to both the back panel and the side panel. The next step is going to be to put your last panel up. The first thing you're going to do is bolt it into the frame and then put your last two self-tappers in. The last step into assembling the booth is installing your self-leveling legs. It is a very easy concept. It's just a threaded rod with a foot on the end. You screw it into the bottom of your booth. It has a nut that you can sort of preset before you do it. You want to make sure all of your legs are at the same length, and you just screw it in until the nut reaches the bottom of the weld booth, and you tighten it. Alright guys, so one thing I did forget to mention is the curtain rod. This is very easy to install. You've got two self-tapping screws on both sides. Once you get that installed, if you've ordered a weld curtain from us, that'll be shipped to you via UPS. And very easy. You've just got hooks, you put in the grommets, and you hang it on your rod, and you're good to go. Here we go. Alright guys, so now it's time to do our weld booths that share side panels. The best way we have found to do this is to go ahead and lay your two back panels down. Then put your middle panel in. This will be supplied with a longer bolt that you'll connect all three pieces together. Once you've got those bolted, you want to go ahead and bring in your shelves. Get those bolted up to the point to where you only have to bring in your two sidewalls. Once you've got your two sidewalls up, go ahead and install your leveling legs, and then team lift this in upright, put it in position, and start on your next section. The easiest way to do this is to build it in sections so it's not so heavy. If you've got a forklift, that's a different scenario to where maybe you can pick all of it up at once. But if you're team lifting this, you've got guys who are just manhandling this stuff, build it in smaller sections and piece it together as you get those built.